Hey, what's up? It's Cowboy. It is Tuesday, so it is the 21st of November, and tomorrow is Wednesday, the day before Thanksgiving. So in the US, we're going to have some holidays, Thursday and Friday. Tomorrow being Wednesday, we'll be doing a show, at least I will. But, the market's going to be really slow the next couple of days, and hence my exit from my Euro trade this morning, although it is actually still heading in the right direction. I just had an algorithmic exit that actually hit overnight. And so I was not awake when it happened. And so I went ahead and followed my rules and got out. It is it is headed in the right direction though. So you never know, it could continue up. But we also do have the gorilla in the house. V, how you doing, man?
Hey man, just relaxing, waving my Ukrainian and Israeli flags, and
Oh, geez.
yeah, as well as the rainbow flag. I'm representing all people, man. I am an ape for all seasons and for all reasons, baby.
Sounds like it. Scratching your
You like
armpit
that, right?
hair, dragging
That's
your
it.
knuckles.
That's it, bro. That's it. You like it? I'm an ape for all seasons and for all reasons.
Yeah, how's that pumpkin spice?
How do you know I'm drinking pumpkin spice? You are psychic. Yes, I am
I got a camera in
enjoying.
your house, dude.
It is
We
the
put that camera in
official.
together, bro.
We did. It is the official drink of white girls everywhere, pumpkin spice, and I enjoy it, baby.
That's right. That's right. You're transitioning to a white girl, aren't you?
I am. I've taken some skin lightening products. I began to wax my body hair, which is quite a lot.
Are you
And
bleaching certain orifices?
certain orifices are bleached. Yes.
Offices, I said.
Oh,
Offices.
offices. Oh, I thought you said orifices. I
You
apologize.
sick weirdo. You sick weirdo, bro. I don't know what the hell's wrong with you.
Oh man.
So yeah, it's gonna be a pretty big day tomorrow. You're coming on
Tomorrow
to do
got a
drip,
drip
right?
and a half for all of you. This is like major.
Well, why don't you just kick
Major,
off the
major.
show, dude? Like, do the gorilla
Oh.
intro. Let us know what's
Hey,
up.
all you savages, it's Algo Factory.tech. Listen, if you're sitting on the sidelines wondering what the hell to do, and if you're wondering if warrior trading or what's that other joke? Raging trading bull or any of those nonsense.
Oh yeah, you're talking about what's the name? Kramer?
Nonsense. Amateurs who never worked in the friggin' industry, who've never been there, done that, never got the t-shirt. These are just wankers. Absolute wankers. Stop following wankers. Start following the pros right here at algofactory.tech. Don't sit there and let money go pass you by. Come join the only room that not only give you the technicals and the fundamentals, but the entire geostrategic, geoeconomic play-by-play. Know what is going to affect you and the markets months and years before it happens. The only place you're going to get that is right here on algofactory.tech, where we teach you not only to trade, you can learn that anywhere, my friend, but to teach you also how to build the algorithms that trade on your behalf. Trade your job, upgrade your life. Algofactory.tech. How's that for off the cuff?
Beautiful, dude. I think I'm gonna purchase my own subscription to my own product here.
I do that all the time. I sub to my own products and services. Hey, just putting money from one pocket to the other. At the end of the day,
Yeah, no, it's been good. We've had some a little more active live trading over the last week or two, and the losses I've kept small and the wins I've had pretty big. So we're doing real well with that. As a matter of fact, we're about to review a trade that I just jumped out of. First of all, if you look at the screen, you'll see QR code. You can zap that and it'll take you to our website. And by the end of this 30 minutes or so, which is coming in 26 minutes, we'll talk a little bit more about who we are, what we do. You can see the website at the bottom of the screen. So come visit, check it out. In the meantime, whoops, meant to take that away here. In the meantime, I figure we can just we got drips. So just V, if you want to real quick for the audience, first of all,
Drips
like,
is smart.
subscribe, follow, do all the YouTube stuff, right? If you're watching this after the fact, please leave comments. It actually helps us out in the algo, even though you can't do like a show chat comment. Just leave a comment in YouTube. It's great. If you have questions and you're not even a part of Algo Factory, we can answer them at this point. As the channel gets much, much bigger, we'll have to probably have people subscribe to even be able to ask questions. But right now you get it for free. But for the moment, V, can you explain what drips are for people who might not be initiated?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, drip start is this. Look, I work on the institutional side of things, right? I'm on the institutional side of things when it comes to digital assets, when it comes to precious metals. I've been working with an LBMA member, a member of the London Bullion Market Association for the last, oh my God, almost 15 years at this point. It's been a long time. And so I have a very unique grasp, perspective, and mindset when it comes to a lot of things, especially with the markets, because I'm not looking at an indice. I'm not looking at a specific stock or an index or anything like that. I'm looking at the entire geopolitical picture, because when you're in the LBMA and you're dealing with moving precious metals globally all throughout the world, you kind of get to meet players, and you start learning that it's a very small group of people at the top of these industries that kind of know each other, right? So you get that real good strategic analysis of each and every country that you deal with, what the geopolitical, geostrategic forces are that are moving and pushing history forward. Okay, in other words, we are privy to history making forces. Okay, history making forces. And the more time you spend, with these individuals who are making these plans, who are making these moves, you understand how it works in the grand scheme of things and how they are moving history forward. So what these drips are is basically conversations and intel that I get from me chatting with the members of my network and my community that I've been a part of for the last over a decade. Okay. So it's that level of intelligentsia that I bring right here to algofactory.tech. And once a week, at least I try the very best once a week to bring something that is new and noteworthy that brings clairvoyance, clarity, and perspective to the global situation at hand. And it's incredible information, the kind of stuff that I've been privy to, that I've been putting out there as claims, and you see it happen. Well, it's because I sit around and I talk with some of the best people in the field, and we spitball ideas. And that's what it is. Are we 100% accurate every single time? No. But these drips are for you to take and be like, you know what? That's intel, right? If you're working in like an intelligence service, not everything you hear is 100%. But credible intel is something you want to look at, because it can be a very actionable thing. And what you do is when you hear it, you take it and you file it away. And that's the importance of it, because there's a very high potential and a propensity for this to come true. And that is what drips are. It is valuable intelligence from the boardroom to your room. That's what I got to say, Kim.
Well, and you got to think of it this way, right? So you're talking about people who are making plans, and what happens with plans? Sometimes they come through, sometimes they don't. So if you could be 100% accurate about the plans themselves, it doesn't mean that it's going to come through. But I've been following the Gorilla since 2016, working with them since 2017, and I could tell you that, and this is as good as you could ever ask. The Gorilla has been about 80% right, at least 80% right, at least 80% right at the time. I mean, at least 80% of the time. So 80% accuracy in number when it comes to markets, or when it comes to like what's happening. And then that's about 80% of the time or better. And that's impossible virtually to find. I mean, your best, biggest names out there are only that accurate and not any better. So that's just the way to look at it. Um, all that to say, though, is that when you have that kind of information, you know which way the wind is blowing. Even if those plans that whoever is making don't happen, there's a good chance that they will, first of all. And secondly, it's going to tell you what's happening in the markets in the background, and that's important. So, when I'm looking at my trades and I'm thinking, okay, I want to know which way the wind is blowing in the high time frame. I want to know what the trend is. If you can expect a turn in a given direction, then you can kind of have a bias as to which way things are going on the charts, and that's what's going to make a lot of money. Those who actually have watched what I do with my trading method, otherwise known as my algorithm, you understand that I use high time frame bias on the charts too. But when you understand which way the wind is blowing from and I don't like to use the word fundamental, but it really is the word to use, the fundamental aspect, then kind of like, okay, I want to favor the charts in this direction. I want to add more punch to trades in this direction. And it really helps out. And plus, it's interesting as all hell. And on top of that, if you are somebody who, say, is kind of gathering long-term investments, the charts can help you with that, certainly. I know people who that's all they care about for their long-term investments is, it's the charts. But when it comes to long-term holds, actually fundamentals are more what I'm interested in for very long-term stuff like gold or, Bitcoin or Ripple or, this and that and the other. So, and when you are getting that kind of information from the gorilla or somebody like him, then that's of course going to be probably the most valuable for that. And in the end, what we do is trading is we extract bits of money from the market, right? We just kind of, grab here, grab there, maybe a few times a week, depending on your style. And then we use that to kind of, build our bag, if you will, of our long-term investments. So I'm going to roll up to the charts unless you had something else, V.
No.
Okay. Because we had a Euro trade, and I just want to show everybody, how accurate my algorithmic exits are. So what we've done is we've been using, and I'm not going to get into the methodology because that's just for Algo Factory members only, but we've been kind of using this broader methodology on which people can build their algorithms. And it's, I just can't say any more than that. But this is a trade that I got in for the euro versus the dollar. And that's lately where I like to trade. I know a lot of traders actually hate the euro, the EUR USD. They can't stand it because there's a lot of liquidity grabs. But if you know how to take advantage of that, then of course you're in good shape, right? So I went long, and I've been in a couple of different longs on this. I had a different long a few days ago. I hopped back in, made a little money. Actually, though, I was planning on making a bit more money, except that I had an algorithmic exit hit around the European Open last night. So right about midnight, my algorithmic exit hit a little after that. So it was right about where that blue line is, which that's midnight my time, which is the European Open. So I'm in the mountain region in the US, right? And you can see the price started heading down right after the trigger. Now, this morning I get up and of course I see price, I got out and I got out as the price was in profit. So let me expand this and let me get rid of this label. Give me 1 second. Where are my settings? Style. Price labels? No, I'm trying to get rid of this. Best way to do it is just to go like this. You can see that price started to head into profit, this kind of into the green area. And it's just fortunate that I was awake. I saw my algorithmic exit, meaning I need to get out right here as things lined up in my algo. And sure enough, it fell, right? Which is, good. If I was awake, I would have taken some nice profit right here instead of waiting. But as I woke up, I was in profit as I exited. And then it started to go the trade in my direction. Right. And I'm like, okay, well, it could continue up. We are dealing with a breakout here. But on the charts, it says to get out. And I'm just going to trust that. Even though price is continuing up, even though I could get greedy and want to chase this trade, I know better than that. And of course, during this conversation, the last 5 minutes, because you're looking at a 30-minute chart, each one of these candlesticks is 30 minutes of price action. But let me do this to kind of help us see what's going on. There. Now you can see what's happening. You see here in this last half hour, price is just really, let me undo that. Price is really taking a nosedive back out of profit. So I actually was able to exit with a little profit, trusting my system, even though it looked like price was going to head back up and maybe even continue up to profit. I got out. I made a decision. I did not get back in, right? When in trading, what I'm really, really good at doing is pretty much like making a decision and sticking with it. And a lot of times that decision turns out where you've like lost an opportunity. But look, not every good trade is a win and not every bad trade is a loss, right? So we have to kind of differentiate. Probably should be able to like our lesson of today is a good trade and a bad trade. In fact, I think that's what we're going to talk about when I'm done with this chart. So there's good trades and bad trades, and there's wins and losses, and they're all very different things. Okay, so I'm going to go down to the 5-minute chart so you can see how quickly this could have gone against me had I like panicked and got back in. Because this is the 5-minute chart. So each one of these candles is 5 minutes. And as the show started, you'll notice right here at 6:30, it hit its peak. this candle, let me lock this down real quick. This candle, this 5-minute candle reached its peak. It looked like it was going to continue up right as the show started. And I'm watching it as we're talking, and it's just going right back down into negative territory. Now, what I think is going to happen is price is going to consolidate. It may kind of rotate back and forth around what was my entry, but in the end, I got out before price really took a dive. And I'll have a clue to get back in if there is that opportunity. But what the one thing to know is that, like I said at the beginning of the show, Thursday and Friday are holidays, and the market's going to slow down quite a bit. There's probably going to be not a lot of volatility, maybe some today, but tomorrow I think is going to be real quiet. It's going to be like a Friday before a weekend, basically. So, I mean, a Friday before a holiday weekend is what I meant to say. So, again, algorithmic exits are just as important as algorithmic entries. And I mean, I know guys do this. I just don't know anybody who are doing it, right? I have an actual formula that says get out, right? And, that's that. And that's look what happened. Had I been awake at the time, and this is not an algo that I have programmed, right? I don't have this one. I don't have this one coded. So, if I had it coded, it would have gotten me out in profit. We're not in that scenario, right? So, but that's what happened. I mean, right here in action, and everybody watched it. Everybody saw it happen. Who's in the group, So I think what we'll do is we'll talk about good trades and bad trades versus winning trades and losing trades. And there's a bit of semantics here, and there's a bit of definition. Look, one thing about trading to know is that you're not dealing with like a set way of describing things. There's not a vocabulary that all traders use. I mean, there is. It's informal. I mean, Investopedia is probably the place to go to really get your data for what things are called. But in the end, there are like different languages, different groups of people. And in fact, some people make up their own stuff. I got words and terms that I've made up that no one else uses. And I'm sure the members have heard some of those. But the point here is that there's good trades and bad trades, and there's wins and losses. A good trade is where you followed your method. Okay, so let's make ourselves let's do one of these. Okay, and then we'll go like this and that and this and that. So we got good trades. Good times. All right, good trades. You ever watch Good Times, V, back in the day?
Yeah, it was one of my favorite shows, baby. Yeah. Raj is the man.
You ever watch that? They had some
rerun.
They had some show where
I like rerun a lot.
Oh, rerun! Heck yeah, man, rerun back in the day. Good times, bad trades. They had some show where they were trying to determine what they actually said in that song for Good Times. Now you got to be pretty old, like me and Vita, to even know what we're talking about here. But there's a line.
We're old, bro.
What's that?
We're old.
We're old. There's a line in the song, like the intro song, and the very end it goes, "Good times." And they had this game show where all these guys are trying to guess what it said. And it was like the white dude that knew what it said, which is really, yeah, it was the white dude. And he actually knew more than anybody else about the show. And everybody was getting a kick out of it.
Probably Gen X, that's why.
Oh, he was definitely Gen X. Like he was, we're late Gen X. He's early Gen X, right?
You have to, yeah, exactly. You have to be late, like early. Yeah, we are late Gen X. Yeah, we're on the cusp.
Yeah, we're on the cusp. We're about 5. I think another 5 years we'd be millennials or something like that. So
another year we would have been millennials. I think the millennials started at 1980.
It depends who you ask.
Millennials from like 80 to like 84, 85 are still like Gen X because they were like our little sisters and brothers. So they were heavily influenced by the 80s culture.
Yeah,
so they're still on our side. They're not the later millennials, which are more like a bunch of Gen Z snowflakes.
Mm-hmm. Yep. No, we're there. Look, we're a generation.
And it's all good. If you're a Gen Z snowflake, look, I'm not trying to offend you. Still join Algo Factory.
Actually, dude, there's the Gen Z are not all snowflakes. And let me tell you, there's a group of Gen Zers who are actually very, very based. If you look at Twitter, if you go onto Twitter, you're gonna see like
Yeah.
a lot of people who are very much that's the one. Cool Cat. Yeah, Cool Cat said it. So there's there
Right.
it was on Chappelle's show and they had like a game show called I Know Black People. And so at the
Ah.
that's the one. And at the very end, the line was hanging in a chow line at the end of the Good Times theme. Hanging in a chow line. I mean, no one ever knew what that said. All growing up, I never knew what it said. I'm like, what? You know, like you hear something all your life, you don't know what it says. And of course, now that he says it, you're like, oh shit, that's what he said. You know, it's one of those things.
That's funny.
It's so funny. Dude, Chappelle show, man. That was a period in time that was unique. Let me tell you, the Chappelle show, that's when that is when that kind of humor was done perfectly. And when everybody knew what was up, you know what I
Yep.
mean? Like that was a real time of like that was probably the closest time in our history of having like relaxation between, you know, different people, different colors of skin. But that's all right, you know, whatever. We're not there anymore. So good trades and wins, bad trades and losses, right? So a good trade is a trade that follows your algo. A bad trade is one that doesn't. And they generally result in what you're seeing, but not always, right? So if you've built an algorithm, that means that you have built something that has a statistical degree of probability of winning. And if you've gotten so far as to actually build it and backtest it all the way to 200, then it is a winner. Otherwise, you're really doing it wrong. Why would you continue to test thing after 50 trades that is like 80% loss? You know what I mean? Morning, Cool Cat.
Yep.
So you know, the it's one of those things where yeah, it's a good trade means that you're following your plan. And if you have developed an Algo Factory type plan, then you know that like say 70% of your trades win, right? You know what the number is. And of course you have risk to reward to even augment those wins so that it feels more like you're 80% winning and 90% winning, but that's we're not getting into that today, right? However, good trades and bad trades can result in different results. You can actually have bad trades win and you can have good trades lose, right? And this is the key to understanding like a lot of our engineer types, they make really good trade developers, but not very good traders. Because a lot of engineers I know, they kind of want something to work perfectly every time. And that's not how it works, right? Now, a lot of engineers who get over that do really, really well in trading because they understand processes and they understand how to make things work. And they understand, okay, my trade works 72% of the time. I'm going to lose 38% of the time, and that's just how it is. And so once you get into the engineer's head, you can help with that. But good trades will lose, bad trades will win. And the perfect example of like, okay, let's just say that, for example, I really got out of the trade because I was asleep at the time. I really got out about right here. Okay, that's where I got out. But right here on the left is where I would have gotten out had I been awake when the actual algo exit hit. So a little more profit, whatever, right? Doesn't matter. The point is that the trade has done nothing but not nothing but the trade has essentially gone down since, right? Look where it is now, look where it was at the time. And even though the price popped up and my algos were kind of like, oh, this might continue upwards, this might actually pop up to win. Like it said that, but it was against my rules, right? But it could have gone up, right? So it might be that it would have been a bad trade that won because even your bad trades, even the trades that are not your methodology, sometimes they win. And this is a big, big thing where people get kind of a FOMO scenario, right? Where it's like, oh, well, shoot, man, I could be winning these. And then they totally divert away from their formula. Because what happens is like we know as we test, we do know that a certain percentage of our good trades will lose, right? We know that because we know the math on that. But what is kind of impossible to calculate, like I mean, it's virtually impossible to calculate because there are infinite number of bad trades because you're not confining your methodology to one process, right? You're having infinite. It's basically a non-process. So when you're changing your process, doing something outside of your process, and a trade wins, that's a bad trade winning. Happens all the time. And the temptation for traders is that it's like, oh, well, maybe I can take these trades after all. Even though they've back tested, even though they know the methodology wins a certain amount of time, what they've done is they're changing their process, right? They're changing their process. They're changing their formula. Everything they back tested 200 times, right? Gone through all that work to have a statistically predictable outcome. And then they change that. So unless you're going to go back and test that 200 times, don't go and trade that. I mean, do whatever you want to do, but understand that if you do that, if you simply change your methodology and start trading, all that back testing, everything is out the window. Your statistical degree of probability is unknown. And that's not where you want to trade, because then you have psychological problems, right? Because you don't know if this is going to win or lose. And then what happens is you start losing a lot of trades and you don't even know. Maybe it's a winning formula, but you don't know. You haven't tested it. And then you're going to stop trading it because you just don't know anything because you haven't tested it. So this is why testing is really important. And I'm going to be hammering this home right now. Back testing to the full degree is what's going to give you the psychological strength to stay with your trading method. And this is the secret. I did a little clip on this. I think it was like 3 or 4 days ago, and I put it up on the YouTube channel. If you want to know my biggest secret to trading, right? It's I think it was like last Thursday, Friday, something like that. And basically what it is that if you built your own algorithm, it's based on your personality, because that's just how it works, right? It's just it's a problem that solves itself, right? As you're trading, your algorithm is going to have your fingerprint, as the gorilla likes to say. And so that is going to be your mindset, it's your DNA, it's your creation. And as you trade that, you're going to be very comfortable trading it because you invented it and you tested it 200 times, right? And you've been forward testing it as well. So you know how this thing works. Now, of course, you know how it works to a statistical degree. Like, you don't know exactly how each trade's going to play out, but hey, I lose every, what, 2, 3 out of 10, 4 out of 10 trades, whatever your number is, right? So it's just a way to make it so that if you lose a few in a row, you understand, hey, I back tested this like 200 times. I've seen losing streaks where I've lost 8 out of 10 or I've lost, 6 in a row. I know these things happen, right? And that way you don't get bogged down in like, oh man, I got to figure out what's wrong with my algo. I got to retool it. Cause let me tell you, I spent years doing this. Right? I spent years just rotating with my account, rotating around that same number because I would go back and retool and I wouldn't stick with the method that worked fine because these things happen because I didn't truly backtest. I learned this a long time ago. So, do yourselves a favor, come over to Algo Factory and take advantage of my experience, right? Don't do what I did and kind of just wander around because you're not doing like anything specific. Make your formula specific, understand it, and then trade it. Gorilla, we got a few minutes yet left. So I don't know. Why don't you give us a send off or add anything you want to add?
I mean, it's very powerful what you said. And this is what I want people to understand here. Okay. I always emphasize, the Cowboy definitely emphasizes the whole back testing. Why is that important? Go through your back testing, do it, because that's what's going to give you. Because when you start back testing, it is a psychological profile and an imprint on not only your habit, but also your outlook when it comes to the trade. It also reveals your fears. It also reveals your strengths, your confidences, all of that. This is what Cowboy always says. Listen, you can't take my algorithm or my, what I've constructed for myself personally on this personal specific trade and then use it for yourself because it might not work. It might not work because it's as unique as your fingerprint. It's as unique as you. And so when we start working with you to help create this algorithm, we're working with the areas that you need development on, the weaknesses, the strengths, so on and so forth. So it's the month of November. We're getting into December. I would love to see more back testing by the members in the Algo Factory Live Lab. And for all of you that are listening on YouTube, I want you to join. Give me 6 months of your life. I know you can cancel your Netflix membership because you don't really need it. What the hell's on Netflix anyway? Another woke, girl boss show that you're gonna watch, right? Like, what are you gonna do? There's nothing on. There's nothing on that's interesting to watch.
But I want to watch Sex
right?
in the City.
That was a warning. That was an actual absolute warning of what not to do, and that women are using it as a blueprint on how to live life.
Yeah.
It's crazy. That's another story in and of itself. You can do without Netflix. You can cut back on your coffee drinking. Well, going to Starbucks every day. That all adds up.
Oh my
For
God.
less
You
than
can buy
the
3
price,
memberships for that easy.
you easily.
You can
for
still
less
drink like
than
half the
price.
Starbucks you drank before it, and easily.
Yeah.
Starbucks is like $6-7 a day. You're doing it 20 days a month. That's like, that's more than 2 memberships.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. And this is what people don't understand. It's like you take we're offering you guys, right? We're offering you something that is just so unique, And when you look at it, $49.99, you divide that by 30 days, folks, it's $1.66 per day. For $1.66 a day. Join me, join the cowboy, give us 6 months of your life and watch what happens, because 2024, I'm trying to get all of you positioned. Because 2024, that's the big one. So buckle up, Buttercup. And with that being said, Cowboy, let's get into the live lab.